Okay, you can begin, Brad.
Okay, the September 26, 2022 Forest Grove School District Board of Directors meeting is called to order at 5:31. Roll call, board members. Mark Everett. Not here. Kate Grundusky.
Here.
Val.
Here.
Narcy.
I'm here.
And Miley.
Here.
Okay, thank you. And now we'll stand and do the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we do introductions tonight, or what do we think? Let's skip the introductions tonight. Approval of tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll
Second.
It's a race. All right, roll call vote. Mark's not here. Kate?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Val?
Yes.
Narcy?
Yes.
And Miley?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Motion passes. Dave, do you want to, well, we'll go to student representative report first, and Dave, and then we'll do all yours lumped together.
Yep.
Okay, Miley, you're up.
Okay. Homecoming this week, LIA, which is our Latinos in Action Leadership, they have a Spirit Week that's going on this week, and then next week will be ASB Spirit Week, and then Thursday will be our royalty and our assembly rally that we have. And then Friday is when we have our parade. We're also going to have a tailgate before the game, which will be in the athletic parking lot and on the JV field right by the athletic parking lot. And we're trying to get some vendors, I think, to come over there. And then football games that night. And then we also have the next day, we have our homecoming dance. That's a majority of what we're working on right now. Like, everyone is focused on homecoming stuff. And then this week, girls volleyball, we have 2 home games. And then tonight, which probably might be already over, I'm not really sure, but water polo had their game today. So I think that's about it for me. I don't think I have anything else.
All right, thank you. Any questions at all for Miley? Okay, Dave, you're up.
So thanks. I wanted to start this one just to kind of alert the board to a mistake. The bond the board approved has earned the full support of the Cornelius and Forest Grove City Councils. The Political Action Committee, Yes for Our Kids, has collected the signatures of every single council member for their submission into the voters pamphlet. When the Political Action Committee submitted the names to Washington County elections, the Forest Grove councilor Tim Rippey's name was left off. The form didn't get handed in. The Political Action Committee just wanted to make sure that we knew that that happened and that every councilor from both councils supported the bond. They just wanted to be able to say it publicly so that people knew about it. I don't think it's a big deal, but it was a mistake. And so they wanted to make sure that this got said publicly. Questions on that?
So Dave, then Tim Rippey's name was left off, and that was, and was he not at the meeting, or?
No, it was totally a mistake by the Political Action Committee. It was just a form that didn't get handed in. He had signed it. It had gotten passed. It just was a complete mistake. Yeah. And again, they just wanted to make sure it was public, to make sure that everyone knew that both councils voted and they approved. And so they all supported. They didn't want it to become a thing. Perfect.
Was this an error on their part or our part?
On their part.
Okay.
Yep. The Political Action Committee's campaign chairman is the one that made the error. Yep. Okay. School continues to progress in a fairly normal fashion right now. We're going to talk more about enrollment, but the 10-day drop happened last Tuesday. Our enrollment is stabilizing. The literacy adoption, it's been a real struggle to get materials from Amplify, but the materials started arriving last week. Half of the materials were out to buildings on Friday, and by the end of day tomorrow, the other half will be completely out in buildings, and so we're off and rolling on that. Classes were kind of moving ahead. Kids are learning, and we're kind of knee deep in assessing students and figuring out what interventions each student needs. We'll bring a presentation to the board surrounding performance, but the SBA assessments that came out, it's no surprise to any of us that they're low. We saw that when we presented our assessments last spring. We did show in those assessments that the kids last year grew, and that's what we're looking for. They came in low and they're continuing to grow. This year, as I presented in kind of the all staff welcome back, this is going to be the focus of our year. Is one, improving core instruction, and then two, using our MTSS system to determine which kids need interventions and do that for them. We're pushing very hard this year to see much larger growth, because to get our kids caught up, we have to grow larger than we would in a normal year. But it feels good still. I mean, things are kind of progressing and they feel kind of like school should. Lastly, I just wanted to note there were some questions at the work session at the board retreat about the school-based health center. We have looked into it. The school-based health center is now back open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30. Wednesday, the provider is virtual. And then the whole thing is closed for lunch from 12 to 12:30. But that's great news that we have some more normal, like we're seeing the school-based health center back on some normal hours. And just to remind everybody, last year, they shortened their hours because they were having staffing issues getting people to the building. So currently, that's kind of where we're at.
Thank you, Dave.
I just wanted to make a comment. Dave, I've heard some really good things about the reading adoption, and also that there's components in there for handwriting, printing, and then at third grade cursive, and the teachers are really excited about it. So, it's good to hear.
If you get a chance to tell Elena that would be great, because she's probably lost years of her life trying to get these materials from Amplify and get them out to teachers, because teachers are excited about this, but it's been a real challenge. And she is really, John and Elena and curriculum instruction have just been working so hard just to get this out there. So I'm glad to hear that, Kate.
Yeah, and I saw I guess they had to make copies because they had some kind of production, and so I saw the copies, and I will call Elena and share.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Dave? Dave, do you have something else?
Nope, that's it today.
Okay. Unscheduled public appearances. The board appreciates community members sharing information during comments. Public comments will be made in person or submitted through the designated form on the web page to be read by the district staff or a registered Zoom participant who indicates through the form that they want to provide the comment live. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. As to the protocol of board meetings, public criticism or complaints about school district personnel are not allowed at this time. Kathy, are there any comments?
There are none.
With that being said, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is made up of routine, non-controversial items to be voted on in one motion. Are there any items in the consent? Are there any items within the consent items on the board that a board member or the superintendent would like to wish to discuss separately? Woo! That was a struggle. Who wants to pull anything out of the consent agenda and address it separately? Anybody? No. All right. Do I hear a motion to adopt the consent agenda as written?
So moved.
Second?
Second, yes.
Discussion. All right, let's vote. Kate?
Yes.
Val?
Yes.
Narcy,
Yes.
Miley.
Yes.
All right, presentations tonight. And it looks like Mr. O'Neill, you're up within the enrollment report.
Thank you. As Dave alluded, I'm sharing with you tonight the September 21st enrollment report that includes the drops, the first 10 day of school. And good news, if we can go ahead and share that, screen share that report. As you can see, our actual enrollment exceeds our budgeted enrollment estimate by 121 students, or a
Hey, Dave, can you
2.2% increase.
Hey, Dave, can you go to the bottom right? Sorry, John. I just want to get us to the right. Down a little bit more. There you go.
There we go. Awesome. Thank you, David. Yeah, that's very exciting. You can see in our previous enrollment reports, what we were trying to do is show you the students that were actually enrolled or attending that school day. What it didn't show is all the students that attended previously. It was a snapshot in time. This includes all of our students that have attended the first 10 days of school. So really good news. Also, just looking back to last year's report, I looked up September 21st, 2021, and we had 5,259 students enrolled. This year, we have 5,582 students enrolled, which is a 323 student increase, is exactly what we need. And they're starting to come back after the pandemic. One note of caution in looking ahead, we're continuing to see the trend of graduating a larger senior class of 442 students compared to an entering class of 400 kindergarten students. We will keep an eye on this going forward. This is a trend that we've seen for the last few years. But good news, in speaking with Rogelio Martinez, he was enrolling kindergarten kids as of today. And so were a lot of other schools at principals. I mean, at schools. Brad.
Hey, isn't it a little late for that normally, John? Do we, in terms of enrolling kindergartners this late, or is this kind of a normal pattern?
This is, yeah, that's a great question. Unfortunately, this is a normal pattern. We were hoping, and actually, we had more start on the first day than we've ever had, as long as I've been here. And thank goodness for that Jumpstart kindergarten program. But again, you know, buses start rolling, and parents finally make the decision whether or not to send their kindergartners. As you know, they can hold them out to first grade if they so choose. But we're starting to see more and more trickle in, so that's good. Any questions?
Yeah, I would say, John, the other thing that jumps into my head when I'm looking at this is actually the 400 kindergartens is a pretty good number. We've been averaging right around 350, 370 for the last couple of several years. So this, I'm glad to hear that we're trending up a little bit. That difference between the senior class and that new kindergarten class isn't as large. So I think Narce raised her hand.
So I'm curious about a question. Is the increase of number of students that we have, do we know like why? Is it more housing, apartments? Do we know why the increase? I mean, it's good, but do we know the reason for?
We don't specifically. We haven't had time to really drill down on that, but just a gut check, I would say more and more are coming back to in-person instruction as the safety issues are more and more mitigated with the downturn of COVID. But we can go ahead and take a look at that even more in depth. But yeah, good news across the board. We're only down 6 kids under projection K4, but 5-6 we're up 39, 7-8 we're up 12, and 9-12 we're up 56. And remember, October 1 is usually our top enrollment point. So we should see a few more trickle in between now and October 1st.
And I assume we have the infrastructure for that growth?
Yes, we do. We do. We have really strong class sizes right now. And what we're looking at is balancing those class sizes, particularly at the middle school and high school level. so that we can really affect optimal core class sizes with the staffing that we currently have.
John, one more question. I know it is on top, Calc 91. Is that an increase there too?
Yes, it sure is. And we're very happy with that. This is my 21st year in the district, and I was there the first day of school, and I couldn't believe it was full on the first day of school. And I think in speaking with the students and staff there, they are so excited about the new facilities that they have. I mean, you can just feel it in the air. Dave, don't you concur?
Yeah, that 91 also includes some of the online. If you remember, we did take some of the online we had last year and moved it to there, but still the largest portion of that, I want to say it's 71-ish, is where they're at. He's got 2 classes of discovery going right now, and somewhere around the 3rd week of October, those kids will actually transition into the 4 alternatively taught original credit courses that they're starting up there. Last year, there was basically one course of kind of original credit. Now there'll be 4. So yeah, it's the program is continuing to evolve, and it's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. O'Neill? Okay, thank you, John. And we'll move to action, and we'll start with our 2023-24 budget development calendar. Ms. Eileen Clute.
Thank you. So tonight we have for you the 23-24 budget development calendar. This was presented at the last board meeting as a first reading, and tonight it is for approval. It follows the historical years. The only change that we made from what was presented to you last board meeting to this one was March 27th budget committee meeting. We moved to March 13th so that it didn't fall on spring break.
Okay, any questions for Eileen? All right, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion. All right, roll call vote. Kate,
Yes,
Val,
Yes.
Narcy,
Yes.
and Miley.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Eileen. Next, policy IKF graduation requirements, second reading with Mr. O'Neill.
Thank you. As you know, the last 2 board meetings, we've brought you the recommended changes by OSBA to the board policy IKF regarding graduation requirements. We also modified it to make it our own. We have placed the honors diploma in the administrative rule for IKF as well. So it's there for your perusal and approval.
Questions for John? Okay, motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
second,
All right. Motion and a second. Roll call. Kate,
yes,
Val,
Yes.
Narcy,
Yes.
and Miley.
Yes.
And motion approved.
Thank you.
Okay, next portion, the future action items. And the first one is 2022-23 Board Superintendent Operating Agreements. These changes were discussed at the board retreat on September 30th, 2022, and it's included in our packet. Are we all, any discussion about those changes or?
So number one was me, Kathy and I kind of trying to take that discussion and put it into something that we felt like, was that discussion. And so just want to make sure that that's kind of where folks are at on kind of adding that fostering an equitable environment.
Comments, questions? Okay, if there are no other discussion, we'll move to number 2, the 2022-23 board goals. And those changes were discussed in the same meeting on September 13th, and it's included in our packet. Are there any comments regarding the board goals as listed? All right, hearing none, then these will move to probably action at for our next meeting.
Yep, they will.
Okay. Future board items or board discussion. Anything that anybody wants to talk about tonight or add to the future board items?
So I think there were 2 items here. One were the operating and then the board goals. Did you include both of those? I just want to make sure we didn't skip that one. Okay, perfect.
Yep. Any future items or discussion items? Okay, with that being said, I will close tonight's meeting. And Kate, you have a very safe drive.
Thanks, Brad. Great
See ya.
job.